What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here. In today's video, we're going to be running arguably the strongest Charizard Great League team that you guys can be running the meta right now. There's going to be Medicham, Charizard, and Noctowl. Now, this team is not new. It has been around for a while, and I don't know who the original battler was that made it, but I have seen this make the rounds over the past couple seasons, and I really wanted to give it a go here in this season, as it just does so well. And today we face off against almost, I think I have like 10 battles here for you guys. 9 of the 10 are lead losses, right? Sableye, Altaria, Pelipper, Charizard, Golbat. We lose lead every single time, and we're able to come back because of how strong this team synergy is and the setups that you can have with it. So hope you guys enjoy. Give this team a try if you haven't already, and share your thoughts about it if you've already run this team, because it's so good. I was so happy and so impressed with its performance for me, so let's get right into it. Right, getting into the first battle, we have Medicham on the lead versus Altaria, right? Lead loss, tough one, so we're going to go ahead and go into Noctowl. Now, I say this every video with my battles, you need to read what your opponent is doing and not doing. They are deciding to stay in with Altaria, which is a good cover to a Medicham. But this tells me that they don't have a great answer to a Noctowl safe swap, which means they are very weak to Charizard in the back, so we're going to play to that. We're going to go ahead and sacrifice our Noctowl here in the mid game, get as much pressure on this Altaria as possible, as we are able to get to 3 sky attacks now, which is going to force a shield, which is exactly what we need in this situation. So Altaria goes down, and now Charizard can go to town. We have kept the Medicham away. They have a Cofagrigus in the back, which is another counter to a Medicham. But this team does not care, and it's also a very good sign that my read was correct. A Cofagrigus here cannot face off against a Noctowl, right? Because of that normal typing. So now it's a matter of what is that Pokemon, that third Pokemon they have. Boom! We one-shot with Blast Burn. Altaria is extremely low, and the final Pokemon is Medicham. So the call was correct. Because they were weak to Noctowl and they didn't swap out, they are then weak to Charizard, and Charizard is going to be taking this one as we catch the charge move now on Medicham. And the reason why I did this is Altaria still has a good amount of energy, and it might be able to get to a sky attack in the back. So what we have to do now is just go for Ice Punches, and we save the charge move on Charizard. That's what's very important. Yes, we do not have Psychic. You might be wondering about the moveset. I have Dynamic Punch because it just dominates Bastiodon, Registeel, Galarian, Stunfisk, and Ice Punch still does well in the neutral matchup against Defense Form Deoxys and Medicham. We face off against the Defense Form Deoxys today as well. The Medicham's going to farm me down, which is fine, but it doesn't matter. I still have a shield and I have Dragon Claw, so this is going to be a good game, very well played, as we are able to take that one right there. All right. Good game. Moving to the next one, we have Medicham versus Pelipper now on the lead. So a Pelipper lead is tough for us to deal with because we have a Charizard Medicham core, but what we need to do in order to overcome that is soften it up with an Ice Punch, as it does do some nice neutral damage, and now we are getting it within range, especially with the wing attacks right there, where a Dragon Claw can threaten later on. Now they swap in a Berserker here, which is very interesting because it automatically makes me think that this is a Fossil Cup team that they accidentally queued into the Great League for. I'm sure all of us have done that before. You in the comments going, yep, I just did that yesterday. I have done it. You have done it. It happens. But because of this, I am now reading it is a double steel team. A Berserker and a Registeel, a Berserker and a Lucario, a Berserker and an Escavalier, or a Berserker and a Ferrothorn. We're going to play to that because our Medicham now is going to be very, very clutch for us. So they bring in the Pelipper. I make a mistake here going for Shadow Ball. I should have been going for Sky Attack because I would be able to get to 2 there. But now I also don't want them to farm me down. So I force the final shield. I swap into Charizard, which pressures the Pelipper now to throw energy, right? Weather Ball, so we're going to go ahead and shield. It's also going to force them to throw the next one if they have it, which they do. I was really hoping I could get to the Dragon Claw in time, but we can survive this Weather Ball, and now we see that the final Pokemon in the back is actually a Scrafty. So it's not a Steel, but it's still weak to Medicham. So saving our Medicham was the correct call here. Remember, we still have Noctowl. We can just counter down. We can go for Ice Punch against Pelipper. But the read was correct. If we save Medicham, we can win this game if the Pelipper dumps its energy into a Noctowl and it dumps its energy into a Charizard, which we were able to do there. So that is going to be a good battle, very well played. Again, this is all team reading with this team, and you can do that. You have the time to. All right, we got Medicham versus Medicham. Mirror fight here. Now, my opponent swaps out right away. This is something we have to note right away. We've seen a Noctowl. We've seen a Medicham. They swapped out right away. This could be a mirror team. They could have a Charizard in the back. So in order to win this game, we need to have our own Charizard with a 2-to-1 shield advantage. And how we do that is Ice Punching like we did right there. And now we go for Sky Attacks here against the Noctowl to try to put pressure on shields. But they decide to let it go, which is totally fine by me. I can safely let this go and farm down. Now, it's all going to be a matter of what they come in with, because we can get to a Sky Attack potentially, and sure enough, it is a Charizard in the back. So they will farm us down, but I can get a shield here with this Sky Attack, because there's no way they no-shield on a Shadow Charizard. So they farm down. Now, what did I say earlier? Our Charizard has to have 2-to-1. So we have to sacrifice our Medicham in this matchup. We have to force them to throw a Blast Burn and dump their energy. If they go Dragon Claw here, I get Ice Punch. If they go Blast Burn, which they do, boom, they now have less energy, which allows my own Charizard to commit to the farm down. So we're going to go ahead and give up a shield here. It is going to be Blast Burn. We're going to look to go for the Dragon Claw now to force the final shield from them, because it puts them in a lose-lose situation. They either shield and get farmed down, or they don't and they bring in Medicham, and I can go for back-to-back Blast Burns because I am ahead on energy. So this is going to be a good game. The Medicham still has to get 6 more counters in order to get to the Ice Punch. So I think they're only at 3 right there. So we just go for back-to-back Blast Burn. Their win con is calling the bait, which they don't. And now that is going to be a good game, very well played. All right, buckle up. I said this whole video, like, it's a very good team, and we lose against someone. I think there's only one lead win. So we got Medicham now versus Golbat, another flyer. So we're going to go ahead and swap out right away into Noctowl. And just like the Altaria matchup before, you read what they're doing and not doing. They are deciding to stay in and go for a charge move, which is going to be Poison Fang, which tells me they have to soften me up. And there's a good reason why. Obstagoon in the back does not do well. I mean, it's a neutral matchup against Noctowl, but it does better if it's if Noctowl's debuffed with Poison Fang, right? What this allows us to do now is we can survive and get to another Sky Attack here, which is going to put pressure on them to shield. I mean, I don't think Sky Attack is enough to KO, but it's enough for them to worry and shield right there. So now Medicham can come in and get a very healthy farm down. Or maybe not very healthy. It's a dark normal typing. So they decide to go for Obstruct, though, which I thought was interesting, as we can counter down, get more energy. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go for Ice Punch now. I mean, ultimately, it wouldn't matter. We get 1 extra counter there versus them instead of... but we get the final shield with Ice Punch, and they surrender. They probably had a Medicham in the back, would be my guess. So that is going to be a good game, very well played. But it wouldn't have mattered if I have to do two counters versus Golbat instead of 1. It's going to be a good game. Now, I missed the lead right there, but they swap in a Shadow Victory Bow. I think that was the Galarian Stunfisk lead. Yeah, so this is the 1 lead win. Now, I make a mistake. Why did I throw Dragon Claw? In this situation, don't do what I just did. I fumbled right there. You just commit to the full farm down, because we have double Blast Burn on the back, and you can tell I'm frustrated. I'm not happy with the choice that I made right there, but we can still recover, because now Galarian Stunfisk coming back in, and this is why you just commit to the full farm down. Double Blast Burn right here, right? Gets 2 shields, or we take out the Galarian Stunfisk, because look at that damage! It's beautiful! Now we're going to go ahead and let this go. There's no reason to be shielding here. We're going to come in with our Medicham and counter down, and they have their own Medicham in the back, so we bring in a Noctowl, and this is going to be a good game as our Medicham is going to be winning this one for us. Galarian Stunfisk has no energy. The Medicham right here is going to be giving up all its shields, even though we have Ice Punch and Dynamic Punch as our move set. Like I said earlier, Dynamic Punch helping out better against the steals that you're going to be facing off against. The Ice Punch does do enough damage, and Dynamic Punch towards the end here to KO a Medicham. So we're going to get 2 shields, which is totally fine. They're going to commit to the farm down, but their win con here is catching a charge move on Galarian Stunfisk, so we have to massively overload on energy and just wait for them to swap, because that's what they're going to do. Psychic as well, we're going to no-shield the first one, and then we're just going to load up. There's the swap. They tried to catch it. Beautiful swap by them on timing, but ultimately I held it. And now I can go for Dynamic Punch here, because even though it is resisted, it is going to do enough damage to KO, and that is going to be a good game. Very well played. All right, moving to the next one, we have Medicham versus Defense Form Deoxys on the lead. So a tough lead right here, which does well against our whole team, but it only does well by landing charge moves. That's very, very important. Now, I am reading that this could be, I mean, if you only see one Pokemon, it's hard to read exactly what they have in the back. If you see 2, the puzzle is a lot easier to solve. But with the Defense Form Deoxys lead, I'm thinking there is a Dark type in the back, either Umbreon, maybe Sableye back there. But a Dark type in the back, Umbreon makes the most sense. It is a very strong core, but we'll have to see what they have, as I will be forced to shield right here. My whole goal is to get this Defense Form Deoxys low and save Medicham with a good amount of health, where I could potentially catch a charge move if I need it, or have enough health to do counter damage. So now we're going to go ahead and swap out into Noctowl and get ahead on energy. They bring in an Obstagoon. So it was a Dark type in the back. I was predicting that at the beginning, and it makes a lot of sense, and this is their best answer now to a Noctowl, which tells me Charizard's going to sweep. So we're going to go ahead, and if there was a Bastiodon back there, right, it would have come in. We're going to go ahead and go for Sky Attacks, and this is going to be a very good situation for us, because now it's going to be forcing the final shield from my opponent, or we just take Switch because we can survive this Night Slash, which now, in this situation, this is going to be, if the Defense Form Deoxys comes back in, again, tells me that they're weak, they have to throw energy in order to take us out. So they're going to go ahead and go for the charge move, which is fine by me. It is going to be Psycho Boost. So now I'm going to come in with Charizard and commit to the farm down and also give up no shield. I think this is Thunderbolt, but because of the Psycho Boost debuff, it's not going to do as much damage. Final Pokemon is Scrafty, so it's actually a double Dark in the back. Now I banked energy there on Charizard, because I think I was close. I think I was 1 wing attack away there from Blast Burn. But now we can go for Dynamic Punch, and no one expects this. No one expects it. They expect Ice Punch here, right? But because I have Dynamic Punch, boom! One-shots the Scrafty, and that is going to be a good game. Very well played. All right. Moving into the next battle, we have Medicham on the lead versus Shadow Charizard. So once again, very tough matchup. We got to go into the knockdown. We got to read what they do. They are loading up on energy, and they decide to swap. Now, when you're facing off against a Charizard like that, the load up on energy and swap out is a huge play, because they are going to be forced to shield no matter what, so it's better for them to try to catch the charge move. Now, we also drew out a Lantern, which is beautiful. You might be thinking, wow, you lost lead to a Charizard, and now you have a Lantern into Noctowl. This game's over. Like, you just got hard countered City. Well, maybe not, right? This game is all about shields and energy, and we can overcome this bad lead and bad mid-game matchup by trusting that Lantern is the hardest counter to Charizard. So now we're going to come in with Medicham. Now, they could have a Bastiodon in the back, right? There could be a Bastiodon, and it's all over. So it wouldn't matter if I read that they are weak in the back to Charizard or not. If I read that Lantern is their best counter or not, because it's over. So what we have to do is play as if it's not over. Play as if we have the opportunity. So if we have the opportunity, the play is to let the Medicham go down and have Charizard throw its energy. It's loaded up a lot here, so this is likely going to be a Blast Burn. And now we come in with our Charizard, and we anticipate the opportunity to sweep. If Bastiodon is in the back, so be it. I will go down with the rocks, but if it is not, we have an opportunity. So we're going to go ahead and give up a double shield right here to Shadow Charizard. Let's see what is going to be in the back. Drum roll, please. It's a Chestnut. It is not a Bastiodon. It is by far one of the best Pokemon for us to be facing off against, because Superpower does not do enough damage to KO. We can wing attack down and take out the Chestnut, and now we have a back-to-back Blast Burn to win this game. And this is so important for you to understand. Just because you lose lead and lose mid-game or switch does not mean the game is over. You have to read what is your potential win con and go for it. If you lose, so be it. But if you win, my gosh, you made a great play. Good game. We got Carbink now on the lead. So this is obviously a tough Pokemon for us to be facing off against, as it does well against our whole team. Now, Medichams with Psychic and Ice Punch, a Carbink can win in the one shield situation. But a Dynamic Punch Medicham, on the other hand, is very, very nice. So what we're going to do here is shield the potential Moonblast, and then we'll see what they decide to do. They're going to go ahead and swap out into Noctowl, Sableye, so I swap out into Noctowl, and I bank a charge move on Medicham. That is very important. The Ice Punch banked is crucial, and if you can always do that of having a charge move ready to go on the back end, go for it. Now, Noctowl in this situation can do very well for us because we resist Shadow Claw, and we can get to Sky Attacks very, very quickly. So we're going to be able to get to a second one right here. So let's see if they decide to let it go or shield. They decide to let it go. Okay, so they want to come back in with Carbink and load up on energy, which is fine with me. Maybe they have maybe they have a fighter in the back, right? Maybe they have something weak to Noctowl, but thankfully Noctowl is bulky enough here, and Carbink does not do a lot of damage, where we can go for a Shadow Ball, getting the Carbink extremely low. So now I have that Ice Punch ready to go. This is crucial in this matchup because now it forces a shield from them when they didn't want to give it, but they have a Meganium in the back, so Charizard is going to put the dinosaur back into extinction, as we can safely go for Blast Burns right here because Charizard is going to be resisting both Frenzy Plant and Earthquake. Now we have to pay some respects here to Meganium because an Earthquake still does a good amount of damage against a Charizard. As you guys are going to see, that's a resisted charge move, and that is a respectable amount of damage. Now I go for Dragon Claw here because I want to try and get to a Blast Burn against the Carbink, but I'm not going to make it, unfortunately, but it doesn't matter. I have a shield, and this is going to be a good game as Medicham is going to be countering down. So that's going to be a good game, very well played. All right, moving into the next one. We have, Medicham versus Altaria once again. So like game one, read what they are doing and not doing. They are staying in. So this tells me that they are weak in the back to Noctowl, and this makes sense. So I'm reading potential Medichams, potential Trevenants, potential Scrafties, potential like Swampers, something back there. Maybe even a Sableye. So we're going to go ahead and just keep going for Sky Attacks, do what Noctowl does, and it softens up this mid-game matchup for us so that the Medicham has distance now away from Altaria. And they go for the charge move here, which is perfectly fine. This now allows my Charizard to come in and load up on energy and actually get to a Dragon Claw before they can get to another Sky Attack, which is beautiful here. So we're going to go ahead and load up. We're going to go for the Dragon Claw right away, and this is now going to be the deciding factor of this game. What do? They shield. They shield, and my goodness, you can just see the chomps being licked there on Charizard as they now swap in a Medicham, and I'm like, this is so over. Charizard is going to be sweeping right now. This is why, excuse me, just because you lose lead doesn't mean you have opportunities to win games. So we're going to go ahead and shield the Charizard. I'm losing my voice right now. We're going to farm down. Let's see what comes back in. It's going to be an Altaria, so I swap into Medicham now, banking a charge move on Charizard, get the counter down. And the final Pokemon is going to be a Swampert. So that is going to be a good game, very well played. As Medicham right here is going to be taking this one, as they're going to try to go for a Hydro Cannon, but it's not going to be enough damage to take us out. Charizard also has a Dragon Claw loaded. Yeah, it's all over. That is going to be a good game, and they do decide to surrender. This team, I'm telling you guys, this team put in work for me. Medicham now versus Sableye. Lead loss again. I told you guys I lost lead almost every single time, and this team just cannot stop. We have a Nidoqueen swap in right here, which is an opportunity for us to take switch advantage, because Nidoqueen, unless they have Stone Edge, which they don't, they're throwing Poison Fang right away. This tells me they're relying on Poison Jab and Poison Fang in order to win, which means I'm going to be getting myself shield advantage right here with the Noctowl, or they just let it go through, and they do. So Nidoqueen goes down, and they have a Medicham in the back, so this is going to be a good game. I can go ahead and go for Sky Attacks now. Obviously, we want to have the Charizard aligned to Sableye and Medicham aligned to Medicham. So now we can safely do that. We come in with our Medicham. They're going to go ahead and throw the charge move. We let this go. Doesn't matter. It's a mirror fight, right? We're well ahead on health. We're going to go ahead and swap out right away, knowing that they were going to swap as well. And now in this matchup against Sableye, we just go straight Dragon Claws here. You don't want to be wasting energy trying to land a Blast Burn, because they're likely going to be shielding, because if they don't shield, Dragon Claws and Wing Attacks will take them out. So they're going to be we're going to be forcing shields, and we can get to it very, very quickly. So we're going to go ahead and just double shield right here. This is the safe play to do, because a Sableye, because we are throwing Dragon Claws, they cannot afford to overload on energy. They have to throw Foul Play when they get it. So now we're going to be getting to another Dragon Claw in time. And once again, this is new. This is some nice neutral damage. It doesn't KO, but it's going to get them low enough where they have to throw. They can't farm down. They can't overload on energy. It forces them to throw. And now I swap in my own Medicham. They come in with theirs, but this is going to be a good game. It does not matter, and they do decide to surrender. So that's going to be a good battle. This team, I am telling you guys, this team is so good. It was so good for me today. As you guys saw, I lost lead in almost every single game. The only game I won lead on was the Galarian Stunfisk. And we dominated that one. And then lead losses, we just did so well because of the Noctowl safe swap, drawing out the Lanturns, or them not having a great answer, which allowed Charizard to sweep either way. It was so much fun. This is a team you guys definitely need to try. All three of these Pokemon as well are mandatory, I think, on your roster. You guys should be building these Pokemon. Wing Attack and Blast Burn are worth the elite TMs. It's a beautiful team. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.